What is up, everybody? It's me, Eves. I'm with Michael Donnelly. I hope I pronounced the
Sure
last
did.
name.
It's perfect
Sweet.
pronunciation.
And if you guys didn't know, this is the creator, the the. I'm trying to think of a better word, but I guess creator is perfect of Twin Peaks Sessions, which is an amazing SF based live session musical recording experience.
Beautiful, beautifully said. Yes, it's funny you said like creator. I've always had a hard time of thinking of a word that I made my Instagram bio of my personal Instagram the front man of Twin Peaks
Mm,
Sessions, and some people think it's the band. Not to be confused with the band Twin Peaks. They're a very successful band out of Chicago, Illinois. That is
yeah,
definitely not me. But one day we will have Twin Peaks at Twin
at
Peaks
Twin
Sessions.
Peaks. Maybe
That's
they'll
my dream
play
session.
the Twin Peaks soundtrack too, and then you can just get the full.
That is, oh my gosh, that's another thing we get is that people think like we're huge fans of Twin Peaks the show. And don't get me wrong, love the show, love David Lynch, but it's totally just about the neighborhood of San
Yeah.
Francisco, which
It-
is my
I
favorite little
guess
home.
if you're not familiar with Twin Peaks SF, the location, then you probably be like,
Hmm.
oh, that's what it is. All right. Well, interesting. I guess that actually gets to me or gets to the first question I really wanted to get into, which was I looked it up. You guys are about a year and I guess like 6 months old. Is that how long you guys have been
Yeah, I'm
doing this
gonna say
thing?
the first ever session that was recorded was with a Bay Area artist by the name of Kevin Nichols. Shout out Kevin Nichols, who's really
Yeah,
blown
I
up
know
since then.
Kevin.
Oh my gosh! Of course, yeah, everyone knows Kevin. We recorded Kevin in January of. I'm so bad with dates when it's January because it just hits that year mark. So I
Mm,
want to say that was
yeah,
January 2019 because then January of this year will be 2021, which would be 2 years. So if
there it
my quick
is.
math in my head lines up, I think you're fairly accurate with a year and a half of Twin
A
Peaks
little bit more, I
sessions.
guess, now that we're in September, almost in October. It's
Mm,
like 8 months or something. But yeah, about a year and some solid change
yeah.
working towards that big
Hmm.
2-0. Um,
Oh yeah.
how did it get started? How did you guys get this whole thing off the ground?
Yeah. So with that, I've always wanted to I guess work in music. So in any type of
Mm,
involvement. So I was a volunteer at the Chapel, which is a SF independent music venue. So
yeah.
volunteer in the sense that I would hand out flyers for shows and they would in exchange give me free tickets. So that was like me getting involved with the scene. And then I really started going to
Mm,
house shows. So one of the first house shows I went to was at Slang Church. So Slang Church is a DIY record in Oakland. And
yes.
looking back at that lineup, it was insane. It was Mom Jean's solo,
Wow.
Awake But Still in Bed from San Jose, Retirement Party from Chicago, who also really has taken off, and the band Lawn Chairs. And Lawn Chairs is like the record label, or it's all the guys that run the label. It's their band.
Mm,
So I went to a house show there, and I was like, "This is rad." It was, I'm seeing relatively very big artists in a
yeah.
small intimate house show venue, and that was kind of inspiring to see that. And I had the idea of, doing something, whether it's throwing house shows, forming a collective. I really didn't know what to do with it, but where I live, and again, all the Twin Peaks sessions that are filmed in the apartment are, that's my apartment. That's the rooftop deck, which is debatable if we're even allowed to be out there, but we've survived this long that, as far as I know, it's totally okay. Um, so, yeah, with a knack for like wanting to contribute with the
Mm,
scene and to give something, give a product, that product was just like we looked outside, we're like, all right, we have this open space. We could, at first, I wanted to throw just a big kind of punk show there, just do it once, get in
oh.
trouble, and never do it again. But then I was like, well, that's stupid. Well, I'd rather have something sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
So, because I'm a big fan of punk rock alternative music, but it's more sustainable noise levels on a roof if you do acoustic. So the sessions are
Definitely.
acoustic, and it was kind of that idea, you know, and got together with the two people that started the project, which was John, who was my roommate, just moved out the other day. Oh, I already miss him. And then Rianne, we were all best friends and doing the thing like going to shows together and whatnot. And she wanted to pick up photography again. And videography. John was interested in sound mixing and also videography, and everyone had a love for the scene in
Mm.
music. So we kind of all, spearheaded that together and just we were like, who do we even know in the scene? Because we didn't really know anyone then.
Oh wow.
But we met Kevin Nichols fairly quickly, and he was super nice, really into the idea of it. None of us knew what it would look like in the end, but that's kind of how that idea formed. And then the real kicking point of me wanting to like go for it was I applied to work at a record label called Fat Records, so like Fat Rec Chords. It's Fat Mike's from NoFX's label, so it's a big label, it's a big punk label in SF. And I went through the interview process fairly far, and I thought I was going to get the job, and I didn't get the job, and I was super discouraged. I was like, I'll never work in music, so I'm just going to DIY mindset, do it yourself. And just see what I can do. And then that kind of spawned Twin Peaks, and then word got out, and people were like, oh, the view's awesome. We started throwing house shows, and it just from there. So that's kind of the start of it all.
That's wild. So like, how long have you been in SF?
I'm from New Jersey originally. Shout out Jersey. I have lived in SF for 4 years now, a little over 4 years.
Okay.
Same spot. I lived with my mom's friend for like a week and a half. And then John, so I know John from, I'm pointing there, it's his old room again. He moved out. So sad. I've known John from growing up, and he found that he moved to the Bay Area before me, but was looking for housing in the city. I knew I was going to be working in the city. He found this beautiful home, and I was like, hell yeah, I will move in. I might have to work 3 jobs to afford it, which I did. But yeah, it's been 4 years out here. But
wow.
I wish I started Twin Peaks earlier, but at the same time, I'm pretty happy with where it's at now, and we'll get into it throughout this chat, but like the future of it and whatnot. So
yeah, no, I mean, the most obvious stuff is like your Twin Peaks, and then Twin Shrieks, and the stuff that has spawned out of that.
Exactly, really the two-headed monster of Twin.
Nice. So like, what is the process for you getting artists in the space, and how do you like decide? Is it all you going out and like inviting people, or do people hit you up and then you decide if you want to, or like how does it work?
Yeah, so in the beginning it was mostly because no one knew about it, so it was it was just hitting bands up that I knew that I was comfortable with to film and be like, hey, if it sucks, like sorry, like I wouldn't feel worried if they thought it sucked. So it started off with just people we met, like Kevin Nichols. I was like, I don't know him super well at the time, but I dig his music. I've talked to him after a couple shows. I feel comfortable filming him. He feels comfortable, working with us. So it started off with people we knew through the scene, and then it quickly opened up to people reaching out to us, and which was awesome. Because then and in the beginning I was like, oh, absolutely, I'm discovering people. And then it became overwhelming of the traffic that was coming in, which is a great thing. Just so many people wanted to do it so fast that we kind of had to streamline it, again, for sustainability. Anything within music and really in life, if you want to be sustainable, you got to be smart with it. You can't say yes to everyone. You can't do it all the time. You got to work within your schedule.
Totally.
And just, again, sustainability was always the big thing from the beginning, which I think has really helped us stay afloat. Like I said, you're filming in an apartment, a shared space with other neighbors who are not, they're not doing this. You know what I mean? To them, it could just be noise, annoying noise. So sustainability has always been huge for us, but yeah, now it's, pretty much, I guess, like we started really grooving within like 7 or 8 months in that we probably were filming. I remember 1 month we filmed like 12, which is insane. It's probably too much. It is too much. We always wanted to set limitations like, all right, we'll do 3 a month. And I would be like, yeah, but then, I would just get so excited for all these bands to have them that I would just keep booking more and more. But yeah, a lot of it, I would guess probably towards like before, COVID hit, which obviously changed everything for everyone. It was maybe at that point like a 60-40 of people reaching out to us and working together with that versus 40% of, me reaching out to an artist I thought was great. And a lot of it, which was so special to me, was touring artists would come here, go out of their way sometimes, like route their tour to stop through SF and have a night or a day to film with us. So that was always special that people, they wanted to make it a part of their tour. Which is always special to me because that means that they care to do this, and I am always grateful that a band and artist is willing to share this creative project with me. It's great.
Yeah, it's like a very grassroots thing, I would imagine. Like, you're not paying money for marketing or anything, right? It's just like word of mouth is completely where
E-
it's coming from.
Exactly. Yeah. The only time I ever paid for a marketing campaign was for our first Twin Shrieks Fest.
Mm.
So the fest we throw, I wanted to get the word out, so I did a stupid like Facebook ad or something. I don't know
Yeah.
if it worked, but no, there's no paid advertisements. And then some people ask me, like, "Oh, do you like? Is this a job for you? Do you make money?" And the answer is no. There's always, I don't know if you've seen that meme. I think it's from, is it Malcolm in the Middle? And the guy's like, "You guys are getting paid," but it's kind of like, it's asking that question. Like, I don't think no one's getting paid.
Mm.
It's a creative thing that, like, money aside, we are just trying to give exposure for bands, give them a platform, give
Yeah.
them a way to showcase their songs in a very unique setting with a unique sound, because usually it's acoustic or stripped down.
Mm.
Um, but
I mean, it's a
but yeah,
quintessential concept, right? Like, you're definitely not the only one doing it, but it's still like always going to kind of work because there's a value, I think, for that sort of experience, because you don't get to normally see an artist just do an acoustic set and like in the location is just so amazing. Like,
yeah,
having
no,
I
thank
got to
you.
be there that one time, that was amazing. Like, just
That's right.
like,
No, that's right.
Shout
Yeah,
out.
because again, sessions are, it's really a new big thing within music is live sessions. You think like
Mm-hmm.
Audio Tree, huge inspiration. If there's going to be a big inspiration for the Twin Peaks project, it's
Okay.
Audio Tree, KEXP, radio station out of Seattle. Yeah, they
Mm-hmm.
do live sessions. Obviously, MTV Unplugged. I think that was the first live session I
The
ever.
OG.
Nirvana,
Or-
Alice in Chains, they did MTV Unplugged. I think that was the
mm-hmm.
first for me, at least. Was like, oh wow, these are heavier bands who did the unplugged set. Um,
Yeah.
that's rad. So stuff like that inspires, and
Mm-hmm.
again, anyone can really start up a sessions thing. You don't need to have a cool, like, blessed to have that awesome rooftop. Trust me, I am grateful
Mm-hmm.
every day to look out and have that. But anyone can film. Anyone can do that. It's just
Yeah.
yeah, it's a matter of if you're passionate about that and you want to
Totally.
give an artist a platform like that. So I've always had a soft spot when I see other session groups. I'm always like, hell yeah.
Mm. Yeah, no, but I feel like you guys are sort of the titular one when it comes to the Bay Area. I'm trying to think. Is there another one around here that you're aware of? I don't even. Not currently, at least for me.
Well, there's Paper House Records, a DIY record label
Oh yeah,
in
you're
San
right. Paper
Jose.
House.
Yeah, you might have heard of them. They also
I've
have
heard of
done
them, yeah.
sessions as well.
Okay.
So they were one of the first other session people to kind of hit us up and be like, hey, this is cool. And I'm actually talking
I can think
to,
of it, yeah, but they don't have nearly as much of a catalog, I don't think.
no,
I've seen a couple of them.
the sessions is like, one of the branches of the label, which is obviously like
Mm-hmm.
putting out music and records and EPs, making music videos, live sessions,
Yeah.
where ours, was pretty much just the session. And then eventually it branched out to show booking and a radio station and a mini fest. But yeah,
Okay.
primarily was in the name, the Twin Peaks sessions.
Perfect. Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Mhm.
Well, I think you guys deserve the recognition you're getting because it's such a solid product. I wouldn't even
Thank
call it
you.
a product, just like an experience. Because like the getting to see the musicians do what they do, but in that setting is quite interesting. Do you
Mhm.
have like a preference for genre, or is it literally just anybody that you? I'm assuming you have to genuinely like the person's music. You don't necessarily
Yeah,
put
yeah.
people up if you don't
Mhm.
like their
Yeah.
music. Is that like a
Yeah.
fair thing to say?
Yeah, no, for sure. I would say, like I said, I'm more when I'm choosing to listen to music on my own. If I'm on Spotify, headphones in, I'm listening to stuff. I like more like punk music, alternative music. I know like bands like 7-Eleven Jesus. I love them. But that's like
Hell yeah.
heavier stuff that you need the amps and all that loud
Mhm.
booming, drums and whatnot. Like obviously we're not
Mhm.
really filming full bands here. So
Mhm.
for me and what makes sense of what we will film is essentially like acoustic. It's stripped down. Does the sound really meet the limitations of, hey, no drums? Very like I know Paper Girl had electric guitar, but rare that
Hell
we
yeah.
use electric guitar. But if it can be kind of that quieter electric, we can do that. It's not like a loud, shreddy. The amp's not turned up all the way. That's why during
Yeah.
that one I kept saying like, can you turn your amp down a little bit? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so usually it's
Getting the right
acoustic.
vibe.
Very limited drums. Like we pretty much the only drum percussion you could do would be like a shaker. which I think I have one. I have one over there behind me. I wish I
Oh,
could
yeah.
reach and shake, but I won't. But we've had like electric bass. We had a small house bass amp, which, you know, that was always fine. But again, as long as the sound meets the limitations, and then of course, like you said, if it's something that I genuinely am interested in. So a lot of it is this band on tour. I love a touring band because I know they're putting in that effort. They're going on tour, you know,
Yeah.
especially within DIY touring. You definitely give a shit about music, and I want to help you get your music out there.
Totally.
So it comes with the relationship that I would have with that band. And that doesn't mean I need to know them at all. I've met so many people, just knew nothing about them. We talked over email or Instagram or whatever, and then I got to know them, and then I got to listen to their music. And if it's music that I feel, you know, I would want to help them. Because again, if we say yes to everyone, this project, it wouldn't last. We would get shut down so fast. So I guess, as long as the sound meets that acoustic stripped down set, but there's no genre specific. Like we've had folk punk artists, which is just acoustic, very fast and maybe loud. We've had that dreamy indie when you have that electric guitar. We've had like, you know, the slow core, like a Paper Girl session. All that stuff totally works. And even punk translates pretty well to acoustic. A bunch of punk bands will have like the acoustic version of a song, which is always, you know, such an easy transition to do. But yeah, pretty much, there's not like we're looking for, you know, like emo revival only. Like not at all. We try to bounce around genres and get like a diverse selection of artists, whether it's like location, background, sound, all that stuff.
Dope. Just off the top of my head, I just thought about, like, have you ever considered having like a techno producer or like a DJ come in? Just because I can imagine like someone with the turntables with the
That'd be
background,
sick.
like that's very classic, like because that's such a good thing
I
now too, right? Is that whole version?
I've
of the live
had
session.
some DJs reach out. Mostly they wanted to do it as like a party, which would be they would DJ out back and it'd turn into a house party, which I had to say no to because that would just be wildly loud. But I mean, if someone wanted to DJ out there and all the stuff was getting mixed in, headphones are on that were not booming the sound out loud,
Yeah,
I would absolutely be down for that. That would be new for us for sure.
heck yeah.
But absolutely.
I wish I
That
could
would
help
be
make
cool.
that happen because that sounds awesome. Like not
Yeah,
a
no.
party, but just like because I feel
Could
like
even be
that's
a
the thing now,
silent
especially in
disco.
COVID. Yeah, exactly. Or like, oh, everyone's got the headphones on. Oh my god.
A silent disco here would actually be awesome. I would be super into that. If we had like DJ out on the roof just spinning and then it's all connected. I don't know the logistics of silent disco, but it's all going to your
Magic
headphones and it's
Bluetooth.
not booming.
Yeah.
And everyone's just vibing in this living room that can uncomfortably fit 50 people, that can comfortably fit 20 people. But
Make it
yeah,
just
no,
20
I
then.
like that.
Make it comfortable.
Yeah, I like that idea. Nice. This is good.
I mean, part of the point of these podcasts, I feel like for me, is like it's partly just like getting to know, getting to reveal some new side of the music industry, but also like I can't help my ideas will just flow because people say things that I'm like, wait, what if we did that? But anyways, well, we can talk about that later. But yeah, that'd be super sick to get a Twin Peaks DJ session or something.
Oh
like
hell
that.
yeah, let's do it.
Awesome. Well, I kind of wanted to get into the next sort of topic, which would, I guess, be Twin Shrieks. You sort of the evolution of Twin Peaks, so to speak. Was that name picked just because it like rhymed, or was there a specific thing?
It was it was one of the maybe names to call the sessions. Twin Peaks Sessions just sounded like the obvious, easy, very simple choice where you kind of know, all right, Twin Peaks Neighborhood Sessions, cool. But Twin Shrieks, because you think shrieks, loud music, you know, like punk, alternative, hardcore, whatever. I always liked that as like just a play on words from Twin Peaks, Twin Shrieks. And then when we were thinking about what to call the fest rather than like, and when I say fest, basically we did, you know, the 2-day a show. So a big, lots of bands on a bill one day and then another second day, make it a fest. So for that, and because we wanted the first day to be full band, you know, it wouldn't be at the house. It would be, we ended up renting an awesome warehouse in Oakland. But the name, I was like, oh, Twin Shrieks Fest sounds awesome. Because it's you kind of have the assumption, okay, it's associated with Twin Peaks because it's so close. But I feel like Twin Peaks Fest, it would have just been too easy of a name that I really loved how Twin Shrieks rolled off the tongue. And it kind of gave it a different branding too. To where it's, we said like the branches of a record label or something. It's like a branch of the sessions that we have. So Twin Peaks Sessions is a core collective, and then you have that branch down of Twin Shrieks, which came about as the fest. So, and thankfully with scheduling, because the first fest we had was in July of 2019. Now the next one, I was so excited to do it again. I wanted to bump it up, so to not wait till a full year. So I wanted to do it in either late March or early April. Now, scary dates to say, as we know what happened. Thankfully, the space in Oakland that we rented it out on Peerspace. Peerspace, it's like Airbnb for like a room rental. Let's think like rehearsal studios. You can rent it for a music video, like a art gallery type thing like that. So we rented it on Peerspace. The guy was super cool with music. He said you can be as loud as you want because it's a hidden warehouse. It's like a warehouse inside a warehouse.
Wow.
So we had that, and he said I can only do early March 7th. And I was like, sure. Thankfully for us, that was the last weekend on Earth to have live music. So we lucked out and had our Twin Shrieks 2020. I'm like, 2020 seems like nothing happened, but thankfully we got it in March 7th and March 8th of this year. It was like, everything shut down that week. Boom. So luckily we got that in, but for 2021, I feel like with the state of the world, it will probably have to be towards the end of summer next year or whenever things open up. Everyone has their different ideas of when live shows as we know it will return. But I am just
I've already
thankful.
started to see, I feel like people are like trying to do like socially distant live shows, but it still makes me uncomfortable. Like I'm not sure if I'm ready to go to that.
Yeah, no,
that kind of stuff.
There was did you hear about the Ocean Beach what was
Burning
it?
Man?
It was like it was like Burning Man couldn't happen the way it normally is, so they had it at Ocean Beach. I was at Golden Gate Park that day, and I stumbled upon, I was like, there's a whole party here. I was like, what is this? This is kind of awesome, but definitely not social distance. Cool. But I walked by it, and that was the Burning Man. That was the Burning Man of this year. And I put on, you might have saw it on the Twin Peaks story, but I shared a clip, and I would be like, would you attend, like a poll, would you attend a live show like this with masks? And I kind of went viral in stories where it kept getting sent around. It had like 300 people voted, and for an Instagram poll, that's rare that many people vote.
Totally. That's crazy numbers.
The majority said no. The majority said they would not attend. I think it was 70% said they would not attend a show like that right now, even with masks. But there are people that are down. There was a lot of people there. I mean, I walked by it, and it didn't freak me out that I was like, I need to be around. Like, I danced a little. I danced to a couple songs. I was like, hell yeah, why not? I went in my little corner, rocked out, and then I left. But it was great because to me, that was for the first time in a while a sense of normalcy in the sense of a live show. So I'm definitely about the return of live shows, but I would not want to put my name under that because it wasn't social distance as much as they kept saying to. It was super risky, for sure. And I know London Breed tweeted was very disgusted by that, which makes sense. That's SF,
she talked about it.
Yeah, it was just a reminder that that is not okay, and I'm pretty sure they shut down the Ocean Beach parking lots right after that.
Wow.
But I think live shows can return, like for example, a park show. So think of if someone's just busking, they're just playing out at a park, Dolores Park, Golden Gate Park. You hit up a few people, hey, so-and-so is going to do a solo acoustic set, mask on. They have the circles in parks. Come hang, come talk. Music will be playing, and because parks are obviously open, and a lot of people are going to parks. So I think that is the safest bet to return for like an outdoor show. And that is, I'm thinking of ways to throw that because, again, I want to respect people's concerns about the virus, which is very real.
Totally.
It's still a real thing. But at the same time, I want to at least give people something fun, something to go to. If you don't want to go to these park shows or social distance shows, absolutely don't go to it. But I'm just thinking of a way to kind of throw like something at Golden Gate Park, super small. Make sure people just a free, literally walk by and there's music playing. It's not going to be a full real setup. It'll just be someone playing acoustic guitar, and I invite people to it. You know what I mean? Like that, I think would be the next step of a live show to throw, during COVID at the time.
Yeah.
But it's always a very slippery slope of people that don't want to do that, and they will be very vocal about that. So it's kind of like, tread lightly of how you want to market a show like that. Because I would absolutely not want to market something like the Burning Man rave. That was, that would be bad publicity, as they say. That would not be a good look whatsoever, because I definitely didn't agree with how they did that. But I think like a park show. Yeah, I mean, have you heard of any shows recently? Because I've seen like little flyers pop up for bars, and I'm like, ooh, what?
Weird. No, I don't think I've seen anything in the Bay, but like SoCal doesn't care as much. I remember seeing like there's lots of like pictures on, like people will post like, yo, this show just went down last weekend. Like there's like 150 people. And it's just like, holy shit, that no masks, just
oh jeez,
it's so brutal.
Yeah. I mean, but there's people that just don't care.
That that is the issue, right? It's like, how do you make sure, like, because I think you can do it safely, like if everyone is literally wearing a mask and they never take it off unless they like go to like a specific spot, maybe for like drinking and eating, and like it's 6 feet or whatever, like you have your only with your close friends. Like I think actually I did see some festival in the UK, like they had like the big setup, and then like everyone has like a little personal box that they're like given to hang out with their close friends, but like it's not like anyone's intermingling. Cool. It's just like, I mean, they're just trying to adapt, right? Because like the music industry is really like dependent on concerts, so I'm really sort of interested to see how this thing ends up, because I imagine so many people are kind of struggling right now just because you can't make enough on Spotify, which we can get into at some point if you'd like. I don't know if that's a topic you find interesting with the whole industry itself, but yeah, I guess we'll have to see. I mean, a park show seems like the most feasible, very, as you say, like just acoustic, keeping it small, low key, if anything, maybe not even like an official show, but more of like a live session with like 10-15 people max, like something in between a show and a...
Exactly, like nothing that you need to promote. Like I could even be so private that I just text a few buddies, hey, so and so is doing a set at Golden Gate Park at 3 p.m. Come by, and and that's it. And then I'll just film it on my phone and be like, oh look, music. But I think we can't strip ourselves of music in its entirety. There are still you still need to entertain yourselves, or you'll go nuts if you don't have any type of fun or any type of exposure, especially if you're huge into music. So and one can only watch so many Instagram live streams.
Perfect segue.
I think we all crave the real setting, but I love a good Instagram live stream. We were doing a bunch on our page, just having artists do like a takeover. And do like a 30-minute set or something.
Yeah. I kind of want to pick your brain about that. Would you be interested in like putting on like a proper sort of, like, you set up a lineup, maybe it's a fundraiser, and maybe my issue is I think Instagram Live is not a good medium to watch live music, because you cannot use your phone if you're not watching. Like, it's one or the other. You can't have it in the background, like the live stream is the only thing on your phone if you're watching the live stream. So I think other mediums like Twitch, YouTube seem more logical, but also music is less integrated with those things in the sense, or like, I guess bands are less integrated. Like people don't typically think, oh, I'm going to watch live music on YouTube unless it's like Coachella or something like that. Like,
oh, the Coachella streams, yeah.
Yeah. But like,
I agree. Instagram is just not. It's just so simple. Like the live stream for IG, like so simple that the sound isn't always great and the video quality is
yeah.
But I like the ones on like YouTube, and the ones that have like the good sound mix in. Like Audio Tree actually has done a few. They call it staged, I believe. So you buy a ticket for it. It's not saved afterwards, so that's the incentive to buy the ticket. It's like you're going to a show. It's there and then it's over. So I bought tickets to a couple of those. It's just like $10. I'm pretty sure it goes directly to the artist.
That's dope.
Which again, obviously they're not touring, they're not doing much of
Yeah.
anything, and you just watch. It's almost like you're watching a session from home, but it's live in that
Mm-hmm.
sense. And if anything, it's like, all right, I'm giving back to the artist.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think streams. It was, oh my god, it's the boom of streaming. Like I feel like no one was using Instagram Live
No,
before
really,
March,
yeah.
and then all of a sudden it was every artist has gone live, has gone live. It was like everyone was going live, and then we were like, yeah, let's host some of these. And yeah, I filmed one band here. It was the band that my roommate had fronted called Force Metaphor. I just filmed him doing a live set on the roof because that was something I wanted to do, was do a live stream from here in Twin Peaks, and really gives it that cool feel. So we just had done one of those. But I would be down to do that again, especially as things open up more and I'm more comfortable having people come into my house. I'd be down to film them do a set out here. And again, it could just be as simple as from my phone, maybe not the best quality that you would see on our YouTube page, of course, but it's something.
I think you could see yourself. I mean, it is more of an investment to do it like quote unquote proper, but I don't think it's so crazy. I think what you realistically would have to do is just get like your laptop maybe, or get a desktop that can handle streaming, because you've already got everything else pretty much in terms, because it's just taking the footage, right, and like the audio recording that you normally do from your sessions, and then just getting it to be lively streamed onto YouTube or whatever, I imagine. But
yeah,
I see it potentially being challenging, because computers, like my computer is not good enough really to live stream too much. I think I can do like a little bit, but not gaming or anything like that. Like you need the specs. That's the only thing. But
yeah, no, and I've seen a few YouTube channels like I said do that, and hey, that's killer. I would for sure, if somebody hit me up that like was a master of the sound and like how to stream like that, because I simply don't know how to do those stream from YouTube. I looked it up and I was like, I'm confused. Let's just film it on our phone. But if somebody hit me up, and I'd be like, you know what, let's do this. Because 924 Gilman Street was doing some streams, and the band Sarcasm, I saw them play a set at Gilman, and the sound was great. It was all mixed in, and it was, I think they had like 2 cameras running, so it's definitely doable. And I'm definitely interested, if you're listening and also interested, please hit me up. Let's collab. Let's link and build.
Heck yeah. No, I think it is definitely. It probably just takes a bit of the mixing knowledge or whatever, but I don't think your like current specs or your current equipment wouldn't suffice. I don't know. I feel like it's just,
it should work. I just need to look in.
It takes a little more setup than the phone. Everyone loves the convenience of literally just pressing a button and then you're
press play. All right, there we go. We're live.
And I feel like with online streaming, it doesn't feel like it's the same as, obviously, so it's like you're having to put extra work in for something that might not actually get the attention you want it to deserve or whatever, which I understand that's probably kept a lot of bands from kind of going the distance to actually make those things, especially if you don't have like a record label behind you helping you out and stuff like that. So totally understandable. But yeah,
for sure, I
think realistically speaking, it might be one of the best options, just because we're not probably having like an amazing live show anytime soon, unfortunately.
No, unfortunately not. Oof. When do you think?
Man,
next summer, if you had to guess? Because everyone's going to be wrong. Whatever we guess, we're all going to be wrong.
I mean, if we go by Dr. Fauci or whatever, I think his expectation is sort of that it would take a months to a year after the vaccine even comes out, because it's, I guess, not 100% effective. There's going to be a lot of like complications, and then but when it comes out is also so difficult to say. But like, I don't know. Yeah, I guess I don't want to say I'm a licensed to like give any information, like look up your own information, everybody. But from what I've heard, it's like even if there's a vaccine, the antibodies are not permanent, so you can potentially still be infected like 2 or 3 weeks later. It's a very complicated situation.
Oh my God, yeah. And like at this point, you can't even make predictions. But I go to Riot Fest each year, a music festival in Chicago, and that obviously was canceled this year. But they already released 2021 lineup and the dates. It's like September 15 or something. So I just want to be able to go to Ride Fest Chicago next year. So hopefully September, it's
Yeah.
good. And I honestly feel like masks are going to be the norm for like maybe 3-5 years. Even, like vaccines out and the virus has very much died down a little bit. I still think masks will be the norm, and I'm totally cool with that. At this point, I feel weird without one.
It makes sense. Like, even if COVID didn't exist, I think there's an argument to be made for masks just because other diseases spread that way. And if you're sick and you wear a mask, you're much more likely to stop other people from getting sick, and you're not going to spread it. Like, so that's why I think, like, I'm generalizing, but Asian cultures are much more likely to, you'll like see them already wearing masks way before COVID because there's a genuine value to it. We're a little behind in that
Masks
sense.
were always a thing. Yeah. There are so many other illnesses that were being spread before COVID that, again, COVID or not, the masks, I'm all about it. You can get masks like as merch now. I'm shopping. I'm trying to find like a cool DIY band who did like a really cool mask. I want to buy one of those. But
that'd be tight. Right now, the mask game is not quite fire, but we'll get it there.
Right? No, I gotta up my mask game because it's a new part of the drip. You know what I mean? It's part of the wardrobe. It's the mask.
You gotta stay fresh out here. Gotta have your fit.
You do.
Well, yeah, hell yeah. So then I'm excited to see if anything comes of maybe an online Twitch Shrieks potentially or something like that, or at least something.
Yeah.
Are you So you're still like undecided about, like, there's no major plans to get the sessions going again just because of COVID and everything, or has that?
So I'm glad you brought that up. So surprise, surprise, we actually filmed one last weekend, and it was the first time that there was a film Twin Peaks session since March 9th.
Wow.
And the reason was, so the artist by the name of Common Sage from Brooklyn. It's kind of like an emo band. Just dropped a phenomenal EP, and I'm telling you, they're gonna make the rounds in the emo community for sure.
Nice.
They were recording their album out here. The drummer lives in San Francisco. Julian, the frontman, hit me up and was like, "Hey, are you guys booking? Like, I know times are weird, but I'm in the Bay. I would love to do this." And I had discovered them before they even reached out,
I
was like, "I don't want to. Hell yeah, I'm down." So yeah, filmed that one last week. In the process of editing it, I just got the sound mix in. It sounds very good, but slowly booking has resumed, and I've kind of been quiet about it because, like I said, people are still not ready, and that's okay. But I don't want to publicly, do a post like, "Hey, books are open. Let's do this." I want to keep it kind of, but I have no problem obviously saying this on a public forum. But booking is slowly trickling in. I'm talking to a couple other artists. I'm looking to film maybe 2 more in October. And like the weather's beautiful, and I'm just like, I love this. This is really like what I love to do and love to be a part of. And if there's a band that feels comfortable coming by, I've been taking care of myself, but obviously we have that conversation before. Protocols, like basically we were like, masks on until you begin singing. Everyone else, he had like a cousin and the cousin's partner in attendance, like masks stayed on the entire time. Our sound friend who was helping out had the mask on. Me when I was filming, mask on the entire time. So just kind of keeping precautions. Obviously, you can't be perfect with it, but booking has slowly started to trickle in, but it'll really, we were cranking out sessions almost. We had a backlog that we could post once a week for, I think, like 10 months. We had once a week. It was something crazy.
Wow.
But obviously that won't happen anymore. So it'll be very, very few and far between. But we're very much, it's like we're waking up. It's Twin Peaks season 2. Or, we're right.
Yeah.
Boom.
Great
we're
idea.
Slowly getting back to it. And yeah, just signed another a year lease on the apartment. That's what I messaged you before. I was like, you got me at a good time because we just got a subletter because we almost lost the place. It was so close because no one wanted to move in because no one's moving during a pandemic. Why would you? But luckily, Facebook Marketplace, shout out, somebody picked up the room and yeah, we're in the process. We're pretty much signed another year lease here. So that was a very big, I'm still here. and then let's fire
More
up the old
footy.
machine again. Yeah, more footy to be released. So I would say that session will probably come out sometime in October, and yeah, we'll probably film a couple, maybe 1 or 2 a month. Again, it's going to be quiet, but we are far from dead. I still want to keep carrying that torch. You know what I mean?
Is there season 2? Is there any potential updates or changes to the formula, or is staying consistent? Just exactly what everyone expects? Or I guess I'm just throwing you a bit of a curveball here, but any updates?
I mean, it'll for sure be different, and the main difference is the in-house team as we know it has trimmed down to just me,
Hell yeah.
me here, and it's always been collective based. So, like for sound of the other session, our friend Robert Sandless, who plays in the band Spurts, such a sound genius mind, does I think the best mixes I've seen in the Bay Area. I'm not a pro on I don't have, my ear isn't the best.
You can give him a compliment
for that,
it's good.
but his mixes they're killer. He's probably mixed. I want to say. I'm going to say 90% of the sessions. I don't know if that's accurate, but a lot of them he's mixed, and he live records them when he can. But that would be for sure, like, Twin Peaks as a collective member, somebody who's always helping out with us. We've booked shows together and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But for I said, like the core 3 has pretty, because everyone moved. That I'm the only one left in SF.
Wow.
Where just will be, and like I said, this is my life. This is my dream that I just want to keep doing until until whenever. I don't want this to stop. So I think that will be the big difference, is the staffing of it. But the kind of the aesthetic will be a little similar, with different people filming and editing. It may look a little different, but it'll still be the Twin Peaks as you know it.
Okay, cool.
We're still going to be there'll still be the unplugged acoustic, usually 2 songs on our YouTube. We're not going to rebrand to being like, oh, we're on, what's the other one? Vimeo.
I don't think you need to be on Vimeo. You're probably safer on
I was
YouTube.
like, what's the other video source? But yeah, it'll still be the YouTube channel. Obviously, we still have our Instagram. Facebook seems like a dying breed of social media, but I still have the Twin Peaks Facebook. And yeah, so all that stuff is pretty much will be the same. It'll just be less of what you were used to before in terms of the content. And what sucked, because I really loved what was happening, was we were doing so much more show booking. Come those winter months, we had booked a show at Bottom of the Hill, at Amnesia. We had a show lined up for Gilman. We were always booking at the Honey Hive.
Wow.
Just so many shows as like Twin Peaks Presents, which is basically, let's form a bill, just put on the show. I'm going to the shows anyway. I'd be happy to promote, support the artists, and usually it would be a touring artist that we were going to do a session with, and then we'd give them a show, give them a venue. So that's what sucks, is obviously missing without shows like we were talking about. Yeah. But that was a huge part of the growth of Twin Peaks, was that booking side of things.
Totally.
But that's obviously on pause. But yeah, for season 2, we'll have sessions. It'll be a few, but they'll all be special because there will be so little of them to see. So, but I'm excited to give these artists that platform once again.
Hell yeah. Now, just because I'm thinking about it, not KQD, KEXP, and what was the other one you mentioned as your influences? Oh, Audio Tree. They do interviews as well as, I don't know if Audio Tree does, but I know KEXP definitely does like a bit of a brief interview. Was that ever in consideration to also include some sort of? I also know Paper House Records. I think they did some interviews. Along with
Paper House does them as well. Yeah, it was initially. We wanted to do interviews, and then I think the first few times we filmed, I was like, I don't want to do the interview. And I think it was just, I don't know, it was nerves or just like, we were probably too worried on the film of the music that an interview didn't feel right. I would be down to do more interviews, but it just, for me, like, sometimes I love the interviews when I see them in a live session. Sometimes they're great. You can hear the artists speak. You can hear their mind aside from the lyrics. You can get to know them on a personality aspect, which is, I always say don't have heroes, but you can kind of get closer to an artist based on how they speak in an interview. So I think it's powerful there. But at the same time, I've seen some of them where I'm just like, it's either like just not a good conversation flow, and I'm like, just play the next song. Like, you know what I mean? I get antsy. And I've heard that from other people with like feedback towards Audio Tree, which is like, it's great, but the interviews can be a little dull or a little cringy. Everyone's favorite word, cringe. But some of the interviews, and KXP does them super well. But I think KXP is more radio background, where they're, talk radio. They are used to that. Where Audio Tree seems more on the music session side of things, where they can be kind of hit or miss with the interviews, where to me, I'm probably preferring more of the music, because, I mean, let's be real, it's hard to keep people's attention span to watch a video. And then if you add in an interview, you might have, it's hard to get people engaged with just the culture of like everything is instant and it's gone, instant gone. Like, it is so hard to have people watch a full YouTube video start to finish. It's difficult to do.
Yeah.
It is. So that's why I think we were like, keep it short and sweet. But that being said, I love podcasts. I love that you reached out to me. I love that you're doing this. I love the conversations.
Totally.
So I'm definitely split between wanting to do interviews when we film sessions versus just like keeping it music. But I guess, like that, we have the Twin Shrieks radio show, which, I had interviewed one person, Matt from the band Outer District, because we were at the BFF. So yeah, it's BFF.FM. Best frequencies forever. The BFF studio kind of shut down with COVID, so it had the perfect interview setup, all the mics, the channels and whatnot, where, now I wasn't doing any radio interviews at all, but that's another thing I want to start up. So I'm thinking, if we have the band that we filmed on YouTube, I can interview them on the radio show, and boom, we've come 360 of the Twin Peaks, module. It sounds like a science experiment, but you know what I mean? Like,
I would go for it. Maybe in terms of like behind the scenes, has there ever been like an interest in filming like sort of I guess B-roll or like side footage to sort of get a better picture, that kind of thing?
I love B-roll. I love that. We've a few sessions will have it. Most won't. A few in the beginning had it because it was just an added thing, but that was something that we cut because it was like too much footage, less music. But the session that I'm chopping up now, it starts off with B-roll, and the B-roll is like 10 seconds of the artist. It was cool. I kind of just was like, okay, I think this will be good timing. It's him taking his guitar out of its case. He's got his mask on, so it kind of sets the tone of the world we're in. So the first video, spoiler, that we post coming out of season 2, will have that quick B-roll footage of an intro of the artist getting the guitar, mask is on, walking, and it's kind of cool because you see the backdrop of like the deck patio, walking to where they'll be performing. So B-roll like that, kind of short and sweet, I think is always great.
Hell yeah.
You see like the blooper reels and whatnot. We don't have that stuff, which can be really kick-ass. But little B-roll like that kind of gives a sense of today's climate, which is obviously COVID, masks. So that's why I wanted to have that in our first video back.
It seems like a good idea. I was also even thinking like if you were also doing interviews, I know you mentioned like trying to capture a viewer, but just to get them to watch the music is a challenge, so adding extra stuff, but potentially maybe like making a separate video, and it's like maybe they just don't ever get views, but it might still be worth it. I don't know, just an idea if you wanted to avoid like, okay, the main people will just watch the music, but then the interviews are also available in a separate video if like perhaps they liked the content and they wanted to get to, like, you wanted to give an opportunity for the interviews to exist. Just throwing it out there as a potential idea. I don't know.
I hear that, and I think it's great. I do, and it's just like, yeah, we were just like, people won't watch it, but it's one of those like, it's kind of a niche project in its own thing that when people are really into it, they want to see that. They want to see that footage. It's kind of the footage that lives on 10 years from now, because some of these bands for sure are going to get so big, and you can see them when they started, on a smaller scale level of a Twin Peaks session, like a smaller account, and then they're doing Audio Tree. Because we've had some artists that did sessions with us that are on Audio Tree, and I'm like, wow. Hell yeah, like that's huge that they've,
the evolution.
Audio Tree is cream of the crop. They're number one. At least I think they're up there. Maybe Tiny Desk is number one. We didn't mention Tiny Desk, another great live session
Yeah,
series.
totally. They don't
But
do interviews though. I'm pretty sure it's just music, right?
I
Or
don't think they do interviews. No, I think they just like introduce themselves really quick and start. Yeah, I don't think they do
hmm
interviews.
there's
But
banter because it's like there's a crowd and stuff like that. Like there's
yes,
people in
yes,
the
there
audience.
is the
Yeah.
banter, which is cool. Because yeah, ours are kind of filmed in private. If anyone's in the crowd, it's like a friend or a family member.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've only done. It was one day of a live show / recording, and it was
Mm.
super small. I think maybe we had 12 people, 12, 15 people show up. Um, so like in that video, we kind of like pan to the crowd, and it's more like a live feel. But everything we do, we kind of want to give it that live session feel.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Excited to see where things go. Should be pretty sick. I guess I'm kind of running out of questions here. Is there any sort of topics you wanted to make sure you divulged into at all, or should we?
Yeah, I think we kind of hit the big ones, which is like, how do we return? How do we return during COVID? And I kind of covered like, we're gonna return. It'll be different, but the passion is there, the drive is there. I know musicians are hungry to get songs out there, to record new stuff. So it's been great to hear from other people that just care, that like ask us like, hey, when are you guys shooting again? Or that cared that we had an open room, that we might even lose the place, So
Aw.
it's the community, right? The community is still there. It's
yeah.
despite no shows, people are there. People are still interested in music. So much amazing records have come out during all this, which has been, there's still new music to discover, which I think is great. So the industry, as we see it kind of plummeting and taking really bad turns, and we need so much funding for all the Save Our
Yeah.
Stages, all the venues and stuff, there still is music out there. And within Twin Peaks, we just want to continue to be that platform and be that voice and just be that friendly collective to just keep doing the damn thing. So
Yeah.
I'm determined to keep it up despite things being super different. The passion and drive is still there, and that's not going anywhere.
That's awesome. Yeah, I totally forgot. Yeah, like Honey Hive, all those places are definitely struggling right now. So hopefully they are able to survive this long, long storm, I guess is one way of putting
Yeah.
it.
No, and shout out Honey Hive. So I do want to shout out, there is a Honey Hive compilation record on Bandcamp, and 2 artists used our mixes. So Outer District, SF-based artist, used his song called Whiskey Cowboy from his session, so it's ripped right from the session. And then
Nice.
our homies in 7-Eleven Jesus used their live track of the song Howard from their Twin Shriek set in 2019. So definitely check that out on Bandcamp. Support the Honey Hive. Just, there's so many things in music struggling that, if you have a couple bucks to donate to, that I definitely want to shout out, because the Honey Hive has given us an opportunity to throw shows and given us that platform to be more than just live sessions, but to throw shows. And Danny and everyone there, Robert, I believe is his name.
Robert.
One of the gentlemen that works the door. They've allowed me to volunteer there and work and assist in booking. And I wish I could be there running a show, tonight. So all of that.
Yeah.
And I know it'll come back, but we just got to be patient and just keep supporting when we can, and just support the artists. Like you said, streaming doesn't do anything, but if anything, it can give them exposure. So share when you can. Buy that stuff on Bandcamp. Bandcamp's doing great.
Yeah.
Buy the merch. All that good stuff everyone says at the end of the show. Bands need it now more than ever.
Totally. Yeah. No, absolutely. You mentioned earlier about like touring artists. Like I always feel like they deserve all of the money whenever like a Honey Hive show happens.
Oh yeah, give them the bucket. Just yeah.
Help. They're just trying to survive. Like that is a rough. Not a rough.
Just
experience,
trying to
but
get to
tour
the next
without,
city.
Yeah.
Just fill up that tank, baby, and keep going. Yeah, that's. Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I guess, have you heard of Chad's House? Are you familiar with that at all? This might be a complete over your head,
No.
but it's in
No.
LA. It's like basically Chad's House is a live session plus interview, but it's like at our ish level of like obscurity. Like they don't have major bands. It's just more so like LA's up and coming kind of scene.
I have heard of it. Keep going, but I have heard of it.
Or Chad's Home or Chad's House. Okay, cool. Yeah. I highly recommend maybe checking that out if you're looking for some
Absolutely.
inspo because they seem to be doing really cool stuff. I was inspired by them to a degree to even start my show, or like they're definitely they
Amazing.
do long form interviews, so they're super sick. I've yet to shout them out on the show, so this is a perfect
No,
opportunity.
shout out
But
all you
anywho,
want. That sounds rad.
thank you so much for talking, Michael. This has been awesome. Really appreciate getting a chance
Thank
to
you.
get to know more about Twin Peaks, Twin Shrieks, all of that awesome stuff, and I look forward to seeing the new content, the new music coming soon.
Absolutely. Hey, thanks so
Mhm.
much, and shout out to you for doing this, because you are
Oh, of
also
course.
giving artists and just like people in like the DIY scene a voice. Even if you're not making music and you're doing something else, you're still
Hell
involved,
yeah.
and it's platforms like this we need. So love and
Yeah,
respect to
much
you,
appreciated. Same to
of
you.
course.
Same to you. Like definitely an inspiration for sure. So thank you, Michael. I guess we'll just
Thank
call
you.
it there. I'll
We'll
stop
call it there.
recording.
Boom. Boom. I will stop as well.